Alright guys, so one of my homework assignments for this week in my memory class is to talk about chain linking. So those of you that don't know what chain linking is, it is taking a concept and then linking it to the next concept so you can better remember it. My homework assignment this week was to remember the first 20 elements of the periodic table. So the first 10, he gave us a story, and I will run through the story real quick with you guys so you all have it and understand the concept. So the first element on the periodic table is hydrogen. So we have to remember a fire hydrant to remember hydrogen. You can remember whatever it is that comes to your mind, but fire hydrant was the example that he gave. Fire hydrant, hydrogen, and then it goes on to the next is helium. So helium, he gave us the understanding of balloons. You put balloons and helium, and then from there we go and head into the next portion of the story. So we got our first two elements of the periodic table of hydrogen and then helium, and the next one is lithium. So we have batteries, lithium batteries. So then in the story we have a fire hydrant that has a bunch of balloons tied to it, and then that fire hydrant gets pulled out of the ground by the balloons, but then a barrage of lithium batteries come and beat the heck out of the balloons and pop it. And where are these balloons coming from, or excuse me, these batteries coming from? They are coming from a barrel, and that barrel represents beryllium. So beryllium is our next one on the periodic table. After that, the barrel has a surfboard on it. So the next one is boron. And then from there we have a diamond that's rolling down the surfboard, and the surfboard has that diamond rolling on it, and the diamond represents carbon. So carbon would be our next piece of the puzzle for the periodic table. And I haven't done this since high school, and I just learned this yesterday, and this is the second time I practiced this, so I'm doing pretty good so far. I'm pretty happy with it. All right, so our next after carbon is nitrogen, and nitrogen is represented in this story by a knight. The diamond falls off the surfboard and hits a knight in the head, knocks the knight out. So the next one we have is oxygen. So we have a mask. We think about an oxygen mask. We got to put this oxygen mask on this knight to bring him back to life and get him some air going again. So we have to make the story super random but also memorable. The more emotion that you tie to the story, the better that you're going to be able to remember it. So the next one we have after that is fluorine. Fluorine is represented by some toothpaste in this story, and the toothpaste is cleaning out that mask so we can use it. I don't know why we're using toothpaste, but it's random and I remember it. So fluorine is the next one. And then last in the first portion of this is a neon sign, and neon is number 10 in our little periodic table remembering story. So this is a cool way to remember information. Now the next portion of the story is what I actually came up with to remember the next 10 elements, and this is pretty random, but I hope you guys enjoy it. Alright, so the next portion of our story after neon, and the neon sign actually says salt. There's a big pile of salt under the neon sign, and that stands for sodium. And then from there we have a magnet that somehow is retracting all this salt, and that is magnesium. Now this random plane comes flying over and gets stuck to the magnet, and that plane is made out of aluminum. And then these people that are in this aluminum plane are flying over, and they're flying over Silicon Valley. Our next portion of this periodic table, I believe, is silicon, if I'm not mistaken. Might be wrong. I'm going off memory here, so I'm pretty happy with my story thus far. And as these people are flying over the Silicon Valley, they see a big T-Rex fossil. Phosphate is the next portion of our periodic table. And then that phosphate dinosaur comes alive and starts running into a big volcano, and that volcano has a bunch of sulfur in it. That's our next element on the periodic table. And after that, he needs to cool off, so he hops into a big pool full of chlorine, and that's our next element. And then after he gets out, he has to dry off, so he goes and get out. While he's drying off, he's starting to play the organ, which also reminds me of the word aragon. And as you're playing this organ, all the aragon's coming out, and it's actually making bananas, and the bananas are flying out of this organ. And banana stands for potassium. And then the last portion of our periodic table, these bananas fall in a bunch of glasses of milk, calcium. So that's the first 20 elements of the periodic table, and that's how I came about remembering them. That is what we call the technique of chain linking. Just learned that yesterday. A lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed. And that's it. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And let's just try to get those memories better, baby. Let's go. Much love.